Antelope Canyon is a slot canyon in the American Southwest. It is located on Navajo land near Page, Arizona. Antelope Canyon includes two separate, photogenic slot canyon sections, referred to individually as Upper Antelope Canyon or the Crack, and Lower Antelope Canyon or the Corkscrew. The Navajo name for Upper Antelope Canyon is Za, copyright bighánílíní, which means the place where water runs through rocks. Lower Antelope Canyon is Hazdistazí, or spiral rock arches. Both are located within the LeChee Chapter of the Navajo Nation. Geology: Antelope Canyon was formed by erosion of Navajo sandstone, primarily due to flash flooding and secondarily due to other subaerial processes. Rainwater, especially during monsoon season, runs into the extensive basin above the slot canyon sections, picking up speed and sand as it rushes into the narrow passageways. Over time the passageways eroded away, making the corridors deeper and smoothing hard edges in such a way as to form characteristic flowing shapes in the rock. Flooding in the canyon still occurs. A flood occurred on October 30, 2006 that lasted 36 hours, and caused the tribal park authorities to close Lower Antelope Canyon for 5 months. Tourism and photography: Antelope Canyon is a popular location for photographers and sightseers, and a source of tourism business for the Navajo Nation. Private tour companies have been permitted to offer tours since 1987. It has been accessible by tour only since 1997, when the Navajo tribe made it a Navajo Tribal Park. Photography within the canyons is difficult due to the wide exposure range made by light reflecting off the canyon walls. Upper Antelope Canyon: Upper Antelope Canyon is called Za, copyright bighánílíní, the place where water runs through rocks by the Navajo. It is the most frequently visited by tourists for 2 reasons. First, its entrance and entire length are at ground level, requiring no climbing. Second, beams are much more common in upper than in lower. Beams occur most often in the summer months, as they require the sun to be high in the sky. Winter colors are a little more muted like the photo displayed here. Summer months provide 2 types of lighting. Light beams start to peak into the canyon March 20 and disappear October 7 each year. Lower Antelope Canyon: Lower Antelope Canyon, called Hazdistazí, or spiral rock arches by the Navajo, is located a few kilometers away. Prior to the installation of metal stairways, visiting the canyon required climbing along pre-installed ladders in certain areas. Even following the installation of stairways, it is a more difficult hike than Upper Antelope. It is longer, narrower in spots, and even footing is not available in all areas. At the end, the climb out requires several flights of stairs. Despite these limitations, Lower Antelope Canyon draws a considerable number of photographers, though casual sightseers are much less common there than in Upper. The Lower Canyon is in the shape of a V, and shallower than the Upper Antelope. Lighting is better in the early hours and late afternoon. Flash flood danger: Antelope Canyon is visited exclusively through guided tours, in part because rains during monsoon season can quickly flood the canyon. Rain does not have to fall on or near the Antelope Canyon slots for flash floods to whip through, as rain falling dozens of miles away upstream of the canyons can funnel into them with little prior notice. On August 12, 1997, 11 tourists, including 7 from France, 1 from the United Kingdom, 1 from Sweden and 2 from the United States, were killed in Lower Antelope Canyon by a flash flood. Very little rain fell at the site that day, but an earlier thunderstorm had dumped a large amount of water into the canyon basin, 7 miles upstream. The lone survivor of the flood was tour guide Francisco Poncho Quintana, who had prior swift water training. At the time, the ladder system consisted of amateur-built wood ladders that were swept away by the flash flood. Today, ladder systems have been bolted in place, and deployable cargo nets are installed at the top of the canyon. At the fee booth, a NOAA weather radio from the National Weather Service and an alarm horn are stationed. Despite improved warning and safety systems, the risks of injuries from flash floods still exist. On July 30, 2010, several tourists were stranded on a ledge when 2 flash floods occurred at the Upper Antelope Canyon. Some of them were rescued and some had to wait for the flood waters to recede. There were reports that a woman and her 9-year-old son were injured as they were washed away downstream, but no fatalities were reported. Access: the road to Antelope Canyon is gated by the Navajo Nation and entry is restricted to guided tours led by authorized tour guides. Tours can be purchased in nearby page, and range from $35 to $82 per person, depending on the time of the day and length of the tour. References. External links: Antelope Canyon Navajo Tribal Park at Navajo Parks and Recreation Department, Antelope Canyon, Flash Flood, Imprints of Light, Antelope Canyon and Horseshoe Bend Trip Report, Slot Canyons of the American Southwest, Antelope Canyon.